We are putting to bed week 4 here this morning. Thank you to CTV's Jackie Perez for joining us. Global Regina's Taylor Shire staying with us, and Darren DuPont with us back in the bunker. We're going out on the video chat this morning. We've got the head coach of the Ottawa REDBLACKS with us, the 2-1 Ottawa REDBLACKS. They fell at home 29-14 to the Blue Bombers on Friday night. Good morning, Rick. Back to work for your REDBLACKS this morning. How's the club looking here through 4 weeks?
Yeah, we're hanging in. Had a couple good wins to start the year, and we're getting ready for Montreal. It's going to be a big home game for us, playing against an Eastern Division team.
I should start with some transactions that the REDBLACKS came out with this morning, if you can recount them for our viewers, Rick, including a guy that everybody around here loves well, Jeff Knox. You've tinkered with the roster a bit coming back.
Yeah, we that's going to happen as the summer months pass, and we're always looking for good football players. Obviously, Jeff's done some really good things, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do out here.
I'm sure you've put to bed Friday night football in terms of the loss 29-14 to the Bombers, but I watched that game, and there were some giveaways in the game, some opportunities missed. Your thoughts on that game, and did it bring you guys back down to earth a little bit? Losses aren't always the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, Winnipeg's a good team. We thought we match up well with them, as far as we thought it would be a very close game. I give them credit. They played better than we did. And then we had some critical errors, turning the ball over. And, the game in the fourth quarter was a one possession game, and just had some mistakes. And it's too hard to overcome those when you're playing against a good team.
So, obviously, that's behind you and the Alouettes. Your thoughts on the opponent this week? I know that you're a coach that never takes anybody lightly. You're a one-day-at-a-time kind of coach. But the Alouettes looked awesome last week, I thought. And you're playing a good team this week.
Yeah, people seem to be very high on Hamilton. We haven't seen them yet, but they beat Hamilton. And then they played Edmonton the first week out in Edmonton, which is a tough place to play. And I know that game was tied late in the fourth quarter. So we know they have a lot of good players, and they're a good team. And that's why it's a big game for us this week. It's in our division, it's at home, and those are the ones you want to try to get.
What do you like about your team, Rick? Because you're a day one regime, yourself and Margell, obviously a tremendous tandem there. But you got a new leader in Dominic Davis, who I know nothing about, and then Jonathan Jennings is new. Well, you've had Davis there, but Jennings is new to your building. That's a culture shift within your locker room. So how's that dynamic going?
Yeah, they're both they're really good guys. They're good quarterbacks, but they're also the more you hang around them, they're guys that are really comfortable in their own skin. They're genuine people. Our guys believe in them. And I think in this day and age in pro sports and in the CFL is you can't be afraid of change, just with the amount of free agency and salary caps and all that stuff. And so we like our quarterbacks. I think we're a little bit on the young side, but I think when I say that, I mean the opportunity to grow. And so, we're looking forward to becoming a better team as the weeks go by.
Well, that culture that you have there, can you just talk about that? Like, do those quarterbacks come in, and like I say, Jennings is new, Dede is not, but do they factor into what you're doing as a franchise, or like how does that work? Because clearly what you guys have instilled there is working. I mean, there was a lot of, criticism out of free agency with the guys you lost, particularly Trevor Harris. You were just in the Grey Cup, and it's just like you guys withstood everything, all the waves, and you're right back to the REDBLACKS we all expect. How'd you do that?
Yeah, we're just trying to see the big picture. It's always disappointing to lose. You don't want to lose guys, but like I said, it's part of the reality with salary caps and things like that. And so we made a decision to keep a lot of people around here. It was most noted that we lost some bigger name guys, and they're good football players, but we kept our whole O-line. We kept most of our defense. We had receivers that are playing for us this year that were with us last year, so they weren't new to us. So we actually, our continuity level was actually pretty high, but obviously the quarterback position, which is going to be probably the best known position, is a new starter this year. But again, like you had mentioned, it was a guy that was with us last year, and we were comfortable with him.
Taylor Shire of Global's got one for you.
I just want to go back to that game against Winnipeg. This might be a question better asked to your returner, but from a head coaching perspective, tell me about that punt that was recovered by Medlock. It was such a unique play, and I mean, it was a tough play for you guys. But take me through like the mentality of the returner and the mentality of the team on that play.
Yeah, well, that situation of the game, depending on the game and score, you could place things some different ways. We obviously wanted to field that one in the air. It was a one-possession game at that point, and so our plan was to not give up a point. We wanted to just catch it and get north-south to get halfway decent field position, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. And it shows you the CFL, especially on special teams, is you better be alert and know what's going on. And when you have veteran guys like their kicker Metlock was smart and hustled down and got on his own kick, which you usually see that on either a shanked punt or when the wind is a factor and you're kicking into the wind. But just shows you got to be on your toes, and unfortunate mistake. And obviously it was highlighted because it was happened at such a critical time of the game.
Two last things for you, Rick. It looks fantastic where you are. Kudos to Chris Loughley for lining this up. I like the look of where you are. And two, for our younger viewers may not know, your dad, a Saskatchewan football legend, Hugh Campbell. His name was on the wall in the old place. It's on the wall in the new place. But you weren't born in Regina. What can you tell me the era, what the years were, and what you remember, your memories are of living here are?
Yeah, so I actually was never alive when he played. So I guess the good news is I'm not that old yet. I definitely I've seen video and all that stuff. But like I said, I was born when he got into coaching. I do have one older sister that was born in Regina. So there was one of us in the Campbell family that was born in Regina. But my parents definitely have fond memories and talk about their time in Regina and all the players he played with and how much they love the people of Saskatchewan. And I know that was a good time in his life.
So your hometown obviously is Edmonton, but Ottawa is your home now. How do you get treated out there? Because I know how big the Red Blacks are. People would know you probably everywhere you go. What's it like?
Yeah, it's really fun. My instincts were right when I just for some reason wanted to interview here even a couple of years before the team was becoming a reality. It just seemed the ownership here, the dedication to the whole thing. I just wanted to be a part of it. I'm a West guy that grew up in the West his whole life, so I have no ties out here at all. And I just thought it would be a total fresh start. You get to start something from brand new. And the buzz in the town before we started playing was genuine. It wasn't like some marketing gimmick. You could really tell people were excited to have football back, and it's pretty cool to be a part of something. When I got here, when I was fortunate enough to get hired, we had basically no players. We had no coaches. We didn't even have a stadium or an office. So you're like starting literally from scratch. So it's been fun to be a part of the process. And then the other thing I like about here is like Regina, when you go play a game in Regina, it's totally unique. The experience, the enthusiasm, the fans. And if you haven't been to a game in Ottawa, it's different, but it's so unique to this league and our stadium set up, and we kind of sit right in the city here in the neighborhood. So it's a pretty cool CFL experience.
Your radio guy, AJ, says, and I agree, top three venues for atmosphere: Regina, Ottawa, Winnipeg. Just throw them in the air. Don't pick one. They're all great, right?
They really are. They're really unique and awesome. Like I said, if you go to a game in Regina, it's different than all the other cities. And we have the same thing going here. Like I said, just the way our setup is, the fans are awesome. And then also, like I said, it sits in the city here. It's there's lots of stuff going on around the stadium and stuff. So it's kind of a big experience. Obviously, the game's the biggest thing, but people hang out before and after and do all those things. So it's pretty. I'm thrilled to be a part of it. It's good, and if people haven't been out here to a game, it's worth making the trip. And anyone can come now. We're done playing Saskatchewan here, so I don't have to worry about the Saskatchewan fans coming here anymore.
Gotcha. Rick, you guys are fun to watch. I appreciate you finding some time for us this morning, and continued success. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
You too. There you go, the head coach of the CFL's Ottawa REDBLACKS. And gentlemen, like, that is what you want. If you're the CFL, that's the kind of guy that you want.
Oh, yeah. He's been so good for the league and really good for Ottawa. You know, when we had John Lynch ripping Marcel on the show about getting rid of the Stars, you were here on that episode, and I was sitting in that chair, and
and he's answering all the questions.
Yeah, he's answering them all, and not retaining the Stars. But who are we to argue? They're having success, and
that was before they played their first game.
Yeah,
too. So he's like, I'm not sure, and Lynch was ripping him, but that to me. He was sitting in the stands. They're probably Eastern time, I guess. They're probably just wrapping up practice.
I know.
That's perfect. That is.
Well, I know how busy they are.
And you get that.
So for him to do that is just unbelievable, to sell the game. Yeah. And, by the way, I'd heard these stories. That when you were on was the day after my mom passed away, so I had not watched the show. Our family was reeling, but I heard about Lynch grilling Marcel Desjardins, and I'm like, I can just imagine. It's like, here's the thing, and Clark's telling me to go to a break. This is the way I've always run my shows. If you're going to come on my show, it's like coming into my house, and I'm going to host you. I'm not going to accost you. I'm not going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're coming into my house, right? You're going to make you comfortable. And I'm like, Lynch, you're on my show, ripping the GM of the Red. Like, I can see it.
Yes.
But don't do it. It's like when I was on Off the Record, which was an absolute disaster. I bombed on Off the Record with TSN's Michael Landsberg. And Michael will laugh. We've talked about it since. We're friends now, right, in the recovery world. He puts you on edge when you go into that room. He puts you on pins and needles. He wants to make you uncomfortable for his own reasons that we won't get into, but I bombed. I had an anxiety blackout. I don't even really remember being on live. And I was sober, but I panicked. Right? And I'm like, I hope Marcel Desjardins is not panicking. Well, Marcel's cool enough that he can handle John Lynch. But just lastly, I said to my wife on the weekend, because Lynch was going off about something, because he doesn't care. He's 81. He's old. He doesn't care what you think or I think, or he doesn't care.
No.
And I said to my wife, you think I'm blunt and open and honest now. Wait till I'm 81. And she's like, oh. And you can get a lot from old people. You can. Like somebody was trashing Lynch on the weekend, saying he shouldn't be on the air anymore. His opinions are ancient. I'm like, you have no idea how connected Lynch is and Tom Shepard and all these guys. There's a reason they're forefathers of this franchise and this league. Mm-hmm. I get way more out of my time with them than they get out of time with me. Believe me. Treasure the elderly.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.